Hi guys, so this is going to be the overview for the case manager position for the League City Animal Shelter Foster Program. So with this program, we've established some really good three main goals when it comes to the program overall. Thank you to the Seattle Animal Shelter for their wonderful webinar that they did on ASPCA, and they provided a lot of the case manager materials for us so that way we can start doing this type of program. And they also had these goals that we are going to kind of adapt to ours, which are amazing. And kind of definitely does a overview justice of our program. So one thing is, of course, providing the best care possible for each foster dog, whether this is or cat, whether this is for medical, marketing, supplies, whatever the case may be. Also, a well-supported foster parent so they can increase the likelihood of them fostering again. So again, providing them with any type of information that they need, medical information, giving them somebody that they could communicate to and report to and ask questions to if need be, in order to provide them as much support as we can give them while they're fostering our animals. Also, adoptions, of course, as quickly as possible into good homes. So this requires that we increase the adoptability of the animals. So again, providing our foster parents support on training and obedience and things like that, ensuring smooth communication between us and the staff, and the foster parents and the case managers, the foster leads, having a well communication system for that, and then actively marketing the dogs. So that would be really good to have, to actively market the dogs and the cats in the system, making sure that the foster parents are provided as much support as they need to actively find homes for these animals. So what is a case manager, you may ask? So a case manager is to provide support for foster parents for the duration of their foster experience. So they act as like a liaison between foster parents, between team leads and staff, and to assist the foster parents in getting their animal adopted into a good home quickly. So with all of these things that we're going to talk about shortly, is to kind of help with the case managers to provide support to the foster parents. So responsibilities in a nutshell for a case manager. Number one would be the primary point of contact for your foster parents. The idea would be to schedule or assign a foster parent to a case manager, and then that case manager is going to be their point of contact from there on out during the duration of the foster animals in their home. It's also to ensure that they have the correct supplies that they need. Foster parents have different needs for different type of animals, and so a case manager is going to ensure that they have the supplies that they need for that. Assist the foster parent with any type of marketing, to making sure that the animal not only is in good care while they're at their home, but they're actively being marketed to find a good home. The case manager also help with finding transfers and or sitters. So if a foster parent can no longer foster an animal anymore, or they need a temporary foster while they go out of town, the case manager will help assist them in that. And of course, facilitate communications and updates between the foster parents, the team leads, and the staff. So what do I do as a case manager? So the first initial day when you get assigned a foster parent, the foster lead will let you know, hey, we've assigned you a foster parent. This, and kind of give a rundown and some notes on the foster parent and the animal if need be, and then you will make an initial contact with that foster parent. Introduce yourself if they don't know you. Let them know of all the things that you're there to support them, to help them, make sure that they have all the necessary things they need right then, and all of that good stuff that for the initial first day that they take that animal. And then after that, it'll be a weekly touch base with the foster parent, making sure that they're okay, making sure that they have their supplies, making sure that they're doing, if they need anything, that you're there for them, and that they're doing everything they can to provide the best care for that animal. And then monthly, you are going to just help with marketing if need be, particularly if it is a monthly thing, where our goal is to get every animal out within a month of foster care. We don't want that animal just sitting at home unless there's a particular reason, such as medical or behavior or something like that. But other than that, if they are adoptable and ready to go, that we want them to be, the foster parent to be actively trying to find a home for them, actively marketing them constantly, daily, on a daily basis if possible. And we provided some marketing stuff we'll go into for that. And then, of course, after the foster parent's done fostering and they have found that good home and it's been adopted, that the case manager kind of touch base with them, make sure all the supplies that they did borrow has been returned if they're not going to continue to foster, or they're going to need a break between fostering, or they're going to foster something different. And of course, as always, thank them for their hard work, ask them, any pros or cons that they had, see what's going on, and see if there's anything that we can do to further on the foster program and them as a foster parent again as well. So the good news is, me being the person that I am, I have made a checklist for all case managers. So it's a checklist that kind of goes in detail for each one of these things, what to ask, what to touch base on, what to help with marketing, what should be done at that point by them, by that foster parent as far as marketing goes. It makes it quick, it's simple. You can print it out and check it off whenever you've contacted that person. You can just keep it on your computer and mark it on there. Whatever it is going to be best for you to keep track of your contact with that foster parent. So some top reads for case managers, of course, is going to be the foster guide. So that's going to be your go-to thing. Considering you're going to be the primary contact for that foster parent, you're going to need to know rules, regulations, and what to do, so that we're all on the standard system. We're all using the same thing. We're all on the same basis for it. So if they're going to be contacting you for some things, the best thing to do is for you to be able to know what is and what isn't in that foster guide. It's a really thick reference guide. I don't expect you to memorize it, but to kind of have an idea of what's in there, so that way if case they do ask you a question or contact you, you can be able to at least reference them to a certain page if it's in there. So the foster guide is your number one go-to guide as a case manager and as a foster parent in general, but as a case manager particularly. The other thing would be case management overview. So that sheet kind of goes over what you would be doing as a case manager. It kind of goes over your duties, your roles, and how to help with those roles, which is most important. It lets you know, how do you help them with marketing? How do you help them with communication between the staff? Everything is in there, and it's kind of an overview of what your job duties are. And like I mentioned before, there is the case manager checklist. So that is your checklist for each foster parent. You can kind of mark off what you have and haven't done on that checklist throughout the duration of you being their case manager. And then also we have something called a case manager call log. So this is just for you, if your own reference, to kind of keep mind if it helps you. I know it does help me, and another foster lead, Lisa, is the one that actually mentioned this. And it kind of just, whenever you call that person, write a quick summary of what that call is, the date that you called them, and any action that needs to be done if needed. It could just be checking in. Hey, how you doing? Everything's going great. Fantastic. Are you marketing? Even better. And call it a day. So the call log is just to kind of keep you in track of what you've been doing and what you and that foster parent have talked about. So for example, here is a little example of the call log. All it is very simple. Whenever you first make contact with them, you can write the foster parent's name, the animal name, and the animal ID, and then you can kind of write down little notes just for yourself on a summary of the call, the date of the call, and then, like I said, the action. So resources for the case manager and the foster parent. We're going to go over things that is going to be able to help you as a case manager and help that foster parent be able to find a home or to keep that animal safe while they're in foster care. So the number one thing would be our Google Drive foster folder. The Google Drive folder is a link that everybody has access to, whether you're a staff member, whether you're a case manager, foster lead, or a foster parent. Everybody has access to this Google Drive, and this Google Drive has all types of information for everyone to use. Of course, like I said, there's the foster reference guide, or the handbook that we have on there just for League City Animal Shelter. So that, again, is your number one go-to. It breaks down a lot of info from kittens from 0 to adult, puppies from 0 weeks old to adult. It goes over fostering a sick animal, fostering animal for space, fostering animal for behavior. Every little thing that you can do, it's on there. We also have medical help on that Google Drive. So if you look, there's a medical tip sheet. So it has little tips on different medical care and things like that if you have any questions. There's also a foster health record. It's not currently yet on a Google Drive. We still have the paper version, but we will have an electronic version that will be uploaded to the drive. And this is kind of for you to keep track of, especially with puppies and kittens. Everybody knows they have to get a certain amount of shots done. They get dewormed, any type of other medical issues, even bottle feeding, all of that. So you'll be able to jot down this health record so we can keep it in their file and keeping track of when they have vaccines and when they haven't. And there's also guidelines for reporting medical issues. So this still is an in-process thing, but we do have a template kind of thing for you to look over that's on the drive that's given to us by Everett Rescue Shelter. And on there it has, things about lethargia, things about diarrhea, things about vomiting for kittens and puppies and what to do and when should you seek medical help and what can be done at home. So this one is a really good, just a breakdown of you have these issues, this is what you do. So that's also on there for medical help. And then as far as tips on marketing, I am constantly finding new things, and every time I find something new, I try to upload it on there. So kind of look at it and see what's on there. So we have a hotspot list. So if you are fostering an animal, there's a list of local businesses here in Lake City, in Galveston, in Houston, where you can bring the animals that are animal friendly, put an Adopt Me vest on them or a bandana and kind of promote them. That's going to be the best way to market them, is to get them shown in the public. So this hotspot list is there for you. We also have business card templates, so all you need to do is download it, edit it to where it fits your information, put the animal's picture on there, and you can actually have business cards for that animal to pass out. So if you have an animal, a foster parent, and they're not able to either bring that animal with them somewhere, they can at least have business cards. So if it comes up, they can say, hey, I do have this wonderful dog that I think would be great for your family. Here's a little business card if you're interested. There's also a how-to manual on promoting and marketing shelter dogs, so you can check that one out. There's also a fast track dog sheet, and that fast track is literally a day-by-day things that you can go to and do to promote that animal. And it's supposed to be, you can get this animal adopted within 14 days is kind of the thing if you do these steps every day. So if you kind of check that out as a day-by-day guide on how to promote them. And last but not least, of course, there's the personality sheets for canine and for feline. So this one is going to be great for you to fill out, not only just for your own reference to have on different things like is that animal scared of lightning or thunder, or what kind of toys does it like to play with, all of that good stuff, but also it's something that you can fill out, print it, and bring it with you to PetSmart. So if you ever bring these animals to our adoption events such as PetSmart or Petco in the weekend, you can actually print the sheet out, give it to the volunteers that are going to be working PetSmart that day with the animal, and they actually have answers to questions that people always ask about the personality of that dog or that cat. So that is going to be a really great way, because the one thing about fostering an animal is you get a lot more detailed and you learn a lot more about that animal in a home setting than you would ever in a shelter. So this is a good way to market and get that animal promoted, is by filling that out. So as a case manager, the best thing to do is become familiar with the items on Google Drive. Is going to be a great, basically a lot of the questions that you're going to get is going to be, there's going to be a reference to that on the Google Drive that you can send them to. If it's, where can I bring my animal to get them shown? There's a hotspot list of places you can bring your dog, or, when do I need to get that kitten vaccinated? Well, there's a medical tip sheet for them to reference to and look at. All of these type of things, questions that you're going to get, I have provided you answers for them on that drive. So some frequently asked questions when it comes to the foster program. One is, who do I call if I can't answer a medical question? So if you can't find that answer on the foster reference guide, if you can't find that answer in any of the medical tips sheets or the medical reference guide or issues guide, you can always contact Marie Havokin. Her phone number is in the master foster list where it says important contacts. So you can always contact her there via text. Her cell phone's there, and you can always ask questions for her. If she can't answer them, then she'll always tell you either call the shelter, or she'll call the shelter and let me know, hey, this is what's going on. We may need to make a vet appointment or something like that. Also, under that important contacts list, you can see a lot of different references. Mickey Kinzer, one of our volunteers, who is also a wonderful trainer, has offered her services. So if there's something going on behaviorally for a dog at your house, then you can call her and say, hey, this is going on. What can I do to fix this? Or, hey, I'm trying to promote this animal. How do I get him to sit? Or something that is behavioral questions that you can ask. She's there for you. There's the Pet Finder, how to get in touch with the people who are on Pet Finder and how to help put bios and things like that on there. We have a photographer on there, Rhonda Tipton, who is definitely able to sometimes come to your house, or you can bring them up here when we're doing pictures at the shelter, and she can take pictures of your animal here. So there's all types of different things on that contact list for you on the master foster list. Another question you may get is, what do I do if they would like to bring their animal back to the shelter? So that would be if they've contacted you and say, hey, I can no longer foster this animal, the number one thing is to try to find another foster for them so the animal does not have to go back into the shelter. That would be the first thing to do. You can contact other foster parents on that master list to see who isn't fostering, and if they're able to foster that animal in the meantime. You can figure out why do they want to bring the animal back, and maybe you can help them so they can continue fostering. There's a lot of different things. If it's come down to the point where they absolutely cannot foster this and you cannot find another foster to substitute it, you need to contact Terry Rogers via email. And her email address is also on that master foster list and her important contacts. So that way you can either contact her and say, hey, this is what's going on. We need to find a kennel or a space for this animal. So another question would be, what if I need someone to take over my cases while I'm out of town? So as a case manager, and you're going to, if you have 2 or 3 cases underneath your belt and you're going out of town, the number one thing would do is to contact other case managers. There's, again, on that master foster list, it has a list of all the case managers. It actually will show you how many cases does that case manager have, and what are they going to, what do they specialize in, because we have some case managers that are better with cats than our dogs and all that good stuff. So you can always contact somebody on there. If you can't find a case manager to take over, then the next step would be to contact the foster lead and see what they can do. Sometimes they'll be able to take over the cases for you. Sometimes even me as a volunteer coordinator can take over for you. Whatever the case may be, we can do that. The next question would be, how much of this can be done at home? So pretty much all of it can be done at home. I can't think of a single time, unless you want to be a little bit more active and a little bit more hands-on case manager. That's totally fine. You can either be, I've rather heard some case managers that actually like to be present when they do meet and greets with potential adopters and the dog, if you want to help with that. If you want to be there when they're taking photographs and you want to help that foster parent as they're taking photographs and stuff like that, you can do that as well. If you can't, if you're one of those that are unable to kind of meet them, most of this can be done at home. It's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of contacting via text or email or going to the Google Drive. So the majority of this can be done at home. It just depends on how hands-on you would like to be. All right, and the last but not least question is, how do I get started? And that is probably my favorite question. The one way to get started is obviously to contact me. I can get you in touch with the foster lead. They can do all the training with you. Or you can contact them directly. Lisa Miller and Melissa Harahan are the 2 foster leads, so they're going to be the ones that are kind of your go-to person as a case manager. So you do have support as well. You're not alone. You can always contact a foster lead who will help you if you're having problems with your case, or you need some help in any way. You can always contact them. So the best thing to do is either let me know where I can put you in touch with a foster lead, or you can contact them directly via email or on Facebook. Okay, and that is it as far as becoming a case manager for the Lake City Animal Shelter Foster Program. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to email me at my email address. And I hope everyone is really interested in this and would like to become case managers someday. So if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. And thanks, guys.